We do have a quorum present with
All members.
all members are here. Do we have, and the agenda was posted in a timely fashion. Having a legal meeting. Having public comments. Review the 24-25 budget and proposed 24-25 property tax rate.
Shelby did not put this thing right in the middle of the room. I hope everybody can see it. If you can't, let me know and I'll move it a little bit. We'll just quickly look kind of at the same numbers, well, the same templates as what we looked at last time we met. There are printouts of this at your place. This is the general operating income and expenditures. If you've got the other one that I gave you 3 or 4 weeks ago, or if you remember, the total income actually is up just a little bit. And we'll see the primary reason for that in just a moment. We got our maximum compressed tax rate back from the appraisal district, and it was 4 cents higher than what I had projected, which I generally like to be on the low side until somebody tells me it can be on the higher side. We did have a few things to add expense-wise. So our revenue has increased, I believe, about 10,000. But you'll see here, our net difference increased about 3,000. We have about 7,000 additional expenses that we've come across. This thing remains rather fluid. Day to day, week to week, there's new things still that we've become aware of that we need to plug into it. And so we do that as we move, but we're still looking at almost 44,000 positive budget variance there. Still, I'll remind you of the items with the big ticket items that we've got. The retention estimate, the retention payment estimate that we pay the employees twice a year, total of 80,000 budget for that. We've got 20,000 in there for additional band equipment. That's half what we've had in there the last 2 years, but we're getting close to having them equipped as they need to be. We have 30,000 in there for a band trailer. With all this equipment that we bought, the trailer they have is not big enough anymore, so we need to buy a larger trailer for them. We've got 50,000 in there to build a storage building at the athletic complex to put a lot of the big ticket items that we've purchased lately in, so they'll be out of the weather. And then the step 25 salary increase for all our employees, or for all our employees that are eligible, is adding about 15,000 to the budget. So we got about 195,000 in big ticket items. Again, that's basically what it was 3 weeks ago when we looked at it. Again, you'll note our payroll is 67, almost 68% of our total budget. Likewise, our instruction cost is over 50%, and that's certainly what we're here for, is to instruct. And so we are spending the bulk of our money. Of course, it does take a lot of support money as well, but we do still have a lot of our budget going into instruction. Any questions on this? I'm going to move quickly through it if you don't have any questions, because it's not changed very much since you saw it before. Minor change to this one, the revenue increased a little bit based on some of the new tax values that we got from the appraisal district. And so if you remember, this negative down here was about, I think about 140,000 when I presented this originally. That is shrinking again. That is a planned deficit because of the lack of the instructional facilities allotment for the first 2 years into this new bond, and the significant payments that we're having to make on interest and a little bit of principal on the bond. This last sheet basically details the rates that will appear in our ad. You've all got copies of this at your place. I tried to put it on this slide, and it was not very readable. It just wasn't feasible to do it. But this is the tax rate information, which is probably the biggest item that people will be concerned about. You'll see our M&O tax rate. We're going to propose, or we're asking you to propose, the same rate that we had last year when the appraisal district got through calculating our maximum compressed rate. It came back out at that .7575. So that will be the same rate as we had last year. Revenue is going to be up a little bit per student simply because we've got increased values. Our appraised values are up. Our total revenue is not going to change a whole lot. What we picked up in that extra 4 cents, we're going to lose most of it in state funding. We will gain a little all total, but we are losing some state funding. Any questions so far? Okay, one last thing I'm going to call to your attention, then I'll sit down. We talked about the tax rate on the down towards the lower part of this notice. It says a comparison of proposed levy with last year's levy on an average residence. You'll see last year's average residence levy was next to nothing because our average residence was 102,000, and so the new 100,000 homestead exemption took the average taxable value of a residence down to almost nothing. This year, the average value of a residence is about 109, and so the taxable value of that residence now is about 4 times what it was last year. And so you can see the increase in tax year over year on the average residence. That item and the tax rate would probably be the only 2 things anyone will ask you about when this is published, if you are asked about it. But I just want to be sure you are aware of what's in there. We will ask you tonight to propose this tax rate and also to set the date for our public hearing and the date to adopt the budget and adopt the tax rate, which is August 27th. I think you have all that information in your notes. But I'll end it and let you propose a tax rate unless you have something else for me.
Any other questions or discussion? So do we have a motion to propose 24-25 property tax rate of 0.7575 for the purpose of maintenance and operation, 0.2603 for the payment of principal and interest on debt, interest and sinking, and a total proposed tax rate of $1.0178 total proposed tax rate. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Terry, we have a second.
Second.
Second by RJ. All in favor, raise your right hand. Next. Next item is item 5, set date for the public meeting to discuss the 24-25 budget and the 24-25 proposed property tax rate. Do we have a motion to set date for a public hearing Tuesday, August 27th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Terry, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Gap. All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 6 is consider and approve policy update 123 local, omit CKEA local, and discuss legal policy.
Okay, Board, we brought this out last month, caught it at the very end, that there was a error in our local policy with our old CKC policy. So what the rest of the 123 is correct as printed. And what we want to make sure we do is pull out the CKEA local that was originally written in Tabby's version. And so as far as what was put in board book and what was sent to you, CKEA local was not in that. Okay, we did not put that in there at all. And just for transparency in a board meeting, we want to make sure that we had CKEA local is omitted from the adoption of 123. So other than that, that'll take care of that piece there, and it will put us in compliance with TASB's recommendations for local policy as we start our next school year.
So does the motion need to address the omitting or just?
Yes, sir. I'd say in that recommended language, recommended update 123 with the stipulation that CKEA local is omitted.
Okay.
You have that? CKEA. That was the old policy. Then it was the original policy in 123. It took out the guardian policy and built in the policy required for law enforcement off House Bill 3. We're gonna come right back to this in the very next motion. So
Okay.
we're not doing away with that. We're just cleaning
Change
up,
it.
we're cleaning up TASB's submission to us.
Gotcha. Works.
Okay. Any other question or discussion? Do I have a motion to approve update 123 with the stipulation that CKEA local is omitted?
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Terry, have a second?
Second.
Second by Josh, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ward. The next one, so the next piece to continue with our guardian policy is to bring in CKC local, which is going to be a part of update 123. Now, originally, this would have been in our packet that TASB sent us, but we got the wrong policy put in there. And so CKC local also addresses all the pieces that deal with law enforcement off House Bill 3, but it also continues our guardian policy and all the pieces that was in our old CKE local, or our old CKC local. And so it brings all those pieces into CKE local. So, thank you, Ms. Holly. We've been on this like for weeks, making sure we got our letters right. So, so I'd like to recommend that we adopt CKE local and have it as our guardian policy and as an amendment to update 123.
Long and short, we are maintaining our guardian program.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Not any questions or discussion? Do I have a motion to approve adding the CKE local policy?
I'll make that.
Motion by Josh, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Gap, all in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. All right, we'll be going into executive session at 6:43 p.m. We're discussing personnel, Texas Government Code Section 551.074. We're going into executive at this time. All right, we're coming back into open session at 7:48. Next item on the agenda is superintendent's report.
All right. Board, just a recap, we've been working on the bond project. Still got some estimates coming in on the structure from contractors and where our last minute pieces are going to be as far as ticket items. Having a meeting with the architect Friday this week. We'll discuss some more information on that and have some information for you in our next board meeting. So that piece there. And then the other piece on here, start of schools tomorrow. So we've been getting ready. We've been fed good by the churches. Ms. Holly's tried to keep the superintendent awake. We've been taking good care of lots of things for our staff. They've been running wide open. But I tell you what, you walk around and it looks like school's ready to start. So if you have time tomorrow or this week, stop by and see us. We'll be glad to see you. But, they'll be here in the morning.
What's our enrollment looking like?
That's what, if on the computer it shows 474 right now, but that's not accurate. That includes the kids that we know have left. And so once we come live,
Yeah.
it'll take those kids off. And so I'm guessing I think we're gonna be up about 10 to 15 from where we were last year. You know, again, that still could ebb and flow. And I told Tommy, I said, that's not bad for budget because we budgeted at what, 440,
428.
even better. So,
That's what's in these numbers
So-
over here.
so, you know, if we're 15 above what we ended last year, that's even better for us. So, it'll help us.
Anything else? Item 11, have adjourned and have a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A motion by Russ, we have a second.
I second.
Second by Josh, all in favor, raise your right hand. Yeah, all opposed, Tracy?